federal government takes a step to help the border situation. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. The Director of Homeland Security has instructed FEMA over the next 90 days to receive, shelter, and transfer unaccompanied children at the southern border. The Biden administration's been facing increasing pressure to address the growing migrant crisis.
Democrats and Republicans want President Biden to possibly go visit the border. Republicans are calling this a crisis. Democrats are calling it a challenge. No question there are difficulties and problems at the border. Both parties agree of that. One of those problems, a surge of unaccompanied children, sometimes very young, with no possessions, just desperate to get into the United States.
Fox's statements $1,400 stimulus payments are beginning to be sent out as part of President Biden's coronavirus relief package.
Higher income individuals are not qualifying. The president says some families may be getting a lot more money than they realize.
For a typical family of four, middle-class family, husband and wife working, making $110,000 a year, that means $5,600 check. 85% of the households.
Also next week, the government says Americans can go on IRS.gov to check on the status of their payments. The payments are going out in plenty of different formats. Some are going to be getting physical checks, some should see direct deposits, others may see a debit card sent to them.
Fox's Mark Meredith. A pair of NASA astronauts are space station after conducting a several hours-long spacewalk to rearrange space station plumbing, carefully avoiding toxic ammonia coolant lingering in the lines.
I felt like it was more than I was expecting just to fly.
Courtesy of NASA TV. It was the fifth spacewalk for this U.S., Russian, Japanese crew of 7. America is listening to Fox News.
I don't know who needs to hear this.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, I hope you're having a wonderful night. And thank you and welcome to the Paranormal Portal. It's our Saturday night expedition into the Paranormal Portal. And while I can't guarantee your safety, I can guarantee that it should be a good time. It should be. Guarantee it should be. No official, like, you can't really hold me to that. But
That's like a hard maybe, right?
Hard maybe, yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of off center too, aren't I?
Well,
it's like I'm sitting all
Oh.
I'm sitting all the way over here. I should be like here. I'll have to switch that as soon as I introduce not only all I can tell you is the man joining me tonight has been like my big toe.
Oh my gosh.
You remember Stripes?
Oh,
The movie Stripes?
barely.
Yeah, it was Sergeant Hulka. You're my big toe. But he helps me stand and helps me deliver all the goods here on the Paranormal Portal. And his name is Mr. Don Longbeard.
I get a mister.
Mister.
That's kind of funny. Viva says she's off center too.
I don't know if I'm right here or not. Let me look. I'm going to put them both on screen. I thought you were going to actually say something.
Oh, I did. I said Viva thinks she's...
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Oh.
I'm a little more balanced, right?
Yeah, there you are. Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Saturday night, as such, we've got a whole lot of fun lined up for you. A whole lot of paranormal goodness, in every bite. But second hour, the phones will be working. You can call in if you'd like to be a part of the festivities that are the Paranormal Portal, and you can call by dialing 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. The numbers for fun right here on the Paranormal Portal. And got a lot of things to do. But you've been good, Don?
Yes.
You know what I did today?
What's that?
I raked.
You raked. Guess what I did today?
What'd you do, Don?
I worked, then raked.
You worked, then raked?
Yes,
well,
I raked
I
a
did.
whole lot yesterday.
Well, guess what I did today?
What?
I worked and raked and then worked again and then raked some more.
Well, actually, if you really want to get technical, yesterday I finally put together my toolbox. I actually filled it with tools. Then I worked on my pickup and raked. And I hurt.
Aw.
It hurt so bad.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. That is such a sweet
Yes,
thing.
it is.
It's
Thank
awesome.
you. Woohoo!
Woo.
She needs a clap.
She
needs
does.
an applause.
That's for you. Thank you so much. That means a bunch to us here on the portal. And again, there's lots of ways to support us here, ladies and gentlemen. I know times are tough for most of us.
I prefer mine padded.
What?
My padded support.
Oh, okay. All right, Don. All right, way to take it to a whole different place. I'm just wildly uncomfortable right now. But
Like
I'm going
a
to say,
peeled banana.
yeah, no, we're not going to go anywhere near that anymore. You and your phalluses and your discussions of support can just stay over there. I was going to say there's lots of ways to support the show, and certainly one of the ways is by donating if that's possible for you. However, we don't ever want people to feel compelled to do that because times are tough right now for so many people.
Yes,
you can help a ton just by being here. You're helping a ton. If you like the streams, it helps a ton.
Even if you don't like the streams, if you give us a thumbs down, it's still just analytics. Nobody cares.
It's still an interaction.
Idiot.
And if you would share the streams to your social media, that helps a ton. So there's lots of different ways, but thank you for giving however you can. And thank you all for being here and being a part of the journey. We hope you'll get subscribed if you're not already on our YouTube page, of course. And lots of goodness going on. I got to look and see who was over in TFR. Oh, yeah, we got Bam Nightshade, All One, and Johnny Angel all over there on TFR. How you guys doing? Good to see you. Hey, Bam. Bam said, hey, Brent. In there, I know the crowd's still coming in, but who's on YouTube, Don?
What, already? You want to do call-outs or shout-outs? No
sure,
problem. Yeah.
Why not?
Let's start with Not Viva. Android Purity. Annie M. Bigfoot Michigan Rob's in here. How you doing, buddy? Ethan's here. Happy Girl. Jordan is here. Justin Good Earth. Let's see. Kirsten, of course. You know, she gets a special... Thank you. Les Hines is here. MJ, Marie Daniel, Parable WNC is here. Let's see. Rachel gets it right. Sandra Piper, Viva, and then me.
So you started with Viva and then almost ended with her.
Well, that way she can't say, you forgot me.
All right, well, folks, it's a boat filling up fast here. There's always room for more, though. So it's bring a friend night.
Till this
if
show
you didn't,
capsizes.
and if it can't, we have expanding capacity. It's a wormhole of sorts.
It's
but
like jumping into Alibaba's bag, huh?
absolutely, the bag of holding from D&D. So that's like my stomach is a bag of holding.
Oh, jeez.
Trying to make it smaller, though. Trying to make it smaller, but I guess.
This is not a valid menu option.
Well, what did I choose?
Sorry.
No bag for you, Brent.
Damn it. I do not apparently have a bag of holding. I don't know what the hell that's from. It doesn't come up for months and months. It hasn't done that.
Oh, she just changed her name to Not Viva.
Not Viva Las Vegas.
Oh,
all right. Let's get to the news. What do you say, Don?
The news.
Time for the news, folks. Ooh, glitchy. Little glitchy. All right, folks. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and that's my co-host, Don Longbeard.
That'd be me.
Also on this segment, believe it or not, he's everywhere. All right, he's like a rash. He keeps spreading.
Whoa.
Speaking of support, got a bunch of news items lined up here for you guys. Should be some entertainment stuff here. The first thing I wanted to pull up was this. And I thought this was funny, and actually got an update on this just moments ago.
Ooh.
So it's one of those evolving news stories, and this is literally up to the minute, nearly updates. And get this, I don't know, it's probably not mentioned on here, but this article is coming from Guitar World. It says there's a haunted acoustic guitar goes up for sale on reverb.com for $666. Oof. There's a terrifying tale behind a ghostly guitar, which involves a hellish hound from the bowels of Hades and the Blue Oyster Cults.
Woo.
Don't fear the Reaper.
More cowbell. Thank you, Will.
Ever wanted to get your hands on a paranormal piece of guitar gear? Well, supposedly cursed by ghosts and spirits, probably not, but this listing for a haunted acoustic guitar from online retailer Reverb.com is worth the read. Nonetheless, shipping from American Vintage and Boutique Music Emporium, the spooky six-stringed instrument is said to be haunted by souls from the spirit world and would be perfect for stripped-back renditions of Iron Maiden's Ghosts of the Navigator and Red Hot Chili Peppers' American Ghost Dance. The proprietor of a possessed acoustic has told the terrifying tale behind the ghastly guitar and has offered it to those who are more in tune with the tenebrows forces. Tenebrous? What the hell do you say? How do you say that word, Don? Tenebrous? I don't know. And whatever. I love it when they get so damn wordy, nobody knows what the hell they're talking about. Of the malevolent netherworld. And so the haunting story begins. A kid that lived on my street when I was growing up was rumored to be into devil worship, seances, Aleister Crowley, black magic, and other dark endeavors of the spirit world. I later learned that this neophyte necromancer was born in June of '66 and died tragically on Halloween 1979 when he was just 13 years old. Oh. The listing explains his death has never been solved, but the calamitous kid was found lying on his bed with this guitar draped across him. Huh. Supposedly at the scene, a 45 record of Blue Oyster Cult's Don't Fear the Reaper was playing, while the air was thick with the acrid smell of sulfur emanating from some perverse potion. Potion the young hellion had been mixing with his Lil Gilbert chemistry set. Oh, my gosh. Oh no. What's more, it is said that the hellhound hailing from the bowels of Hades howled horrendously into the unhallowed hellish night.
Well, that's a lot of H's.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. However, the spooky saga doesn't end there. The seller continues. Years later, I ran into the defunct boy's mother.
The defunct boy's mother?
I don't know. How do you have a defunct boy? Kid's been defunct his whole life. When I informed her that I was a professional guitarist, she offered me her devilish Daisy Pushin' Sons Git Fiddle. What the hell? The ghostly guitar soon became cause for concern for the unfortunate recipient, whose heard strings discordantly ring out despite living alone, and saw the battered axe levitate out of the trash can I had somberly placed it in.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of hooey, but seeing no other way out, the owner had no choice but to put the jinxed guitar up for sale, imploring people to use extreme caution when conjuring the phantasmic spirits that seemed to be channeled through this eerie instrument. As for the model the guitar is, the seller regrettably reveals the brand name decal has been struck off by Satan through his research. Wow. Leads me to believe it's a K-Western special from the 50s or 60s. Genuine haunting or a horror-style sales pitch to bump the value. Either way, we'll be blaming spirits and ghosts for all the fluff notes we play from now on. If you're curious about the cursed guitar, which lists for an appropriate price of $666, head over to Reverb for more information. Now, you ready for the update?
Sure.
Guess who bought that?
Oh, boy. Marilyn Manson.
Not Marilyn Manson.
It was like, okay, so hold on. Let me guess again. Ozzy Osbourne.
Zach Baggins.
No, of course.
Of course he did. Yeah, he just released it on Twitter. He just released a statement on Twitter moments before we went on air.
Of course.
Hey, I bought this guitar.
Oh, my.
So if you want to see some Sears and Roebuck style guitar that somebody stupidly paid $666 for, head over to the Haunted Museum in Zach Baggins Haunted Museum.
Some idiots.
Geez.
Oh, jeez.
Well.
That was cheap at double the price.
Yeah, right. I don't think any of that hooey is valid at all, but it's a hell of a yarn anyway. But I thought that was interesting. Just came up. So Zach Baggins is now the proud owner of that colossal waste of his money, but maybe he's got enough to waste. I don't know.
It's his IQ points. So while Satan was stripping off that brand sticker, apparently Elaine was peeling off some clothes because it got hot.
Ooh, hey. hey, Lane. We usually have dinner first around here. Not sure what's going on, but hey. All right, what time is it? Okay, anyway, before I go totally gutter land, let's go to the next news story. What the hell? Oh, this is another one I was going to read. That's right. I was like looking at it like, this doesn't look familiar. But yes, it does, folks. This is the next article. It's coming from the sciencealert.com.
Wow.
And it's scientists find the doorway effect could be real, but only in overloaded brains. So if you're one of those people that walk through a door and go, why am I in here?
Oh, my gosh.
That is what you got. It's called the doorway effect, ladies and gentlemen.
Why are you going to read my patient file to them?
What did I come in here for? A new study explains the weird doorway effect. If you've ever walked into a room, then completely forgotten what you went in there for, you're experiencing what's been known as the doorway effect. It's almost as if the mind blanks itself as you change location, ready for some fresh experiences or input. In a new study, scientists say the doorway effect, also known as the location updating effect, I like doorway effect way better.
Yeah, because my location doesn't update.
Yeah. Well, I'm just here again. I know this.
Is this the bathroom? I really gotta go.
Does appear to be real, but only when our brains are busy.
Oh, wow.
What's more, it may not be as pronounced or straightforward as previous studies might suggest. Through a series of experiments in virtual reality, a total of 74 volunteers were asked to move through computer-generated 3D rooms trying to remember certain objects from previous rooms, such as a blue cone or a yellow cross, as they went. At first, we couldn't find the doorway effect at all, so we thought maybe people were too good. They were remembering everything, says psychologist Oliver Bauman from Bond University in Australia. So then we made it more difficult. And we got them to do backward counting tasks while moving around to load up their working memory. Forgetting did now occur, telling us that overloading the participants' memory made them more susceptible to the effect of the doorway. In other words, the doorway effect only occurs if we are cognitively in a vulnerable state. Wow.
Wow.
That's me like all the time.
I know. I walked across the room and forgot where I was sitting.
This is it's kind of longer than I wanted, but follow-up experience where volunteers were asked to walk down partition corridors or watch other people doing the same routine while completing memory tasks showed no evidence of the doorway effect, the researchers reported. So there's a name for it, folks. It's called the doorway effect. I thought it was interesting. I'm not interested enough to read the rest of this.
Wow.
But it's called the doorway effect. I don't know. I thought that was wild. I don't know. Maybe they're right. Maybe our brains are just too busy.
I must just have the stand-up effect. I think I forgot this. I stand up and forget.
Yeah, because it hurts when you stand up. Like, oh God, that hurts.
Because it didn't relieve the pressure on the brain.
No. Oh, hey, at least you're
self-aware.
What's this? I was going to say flagellating, but what is the word where you beat yourself up?
Flagellating.
Thank you.
Self-flagellating.
And if you're ever wondering what the history of the world is, just relax, folks, because it could be that the day will come when octopuses one day take over the world. Unexplained-mysteries.com has could octopuses one day take over the world?
Oh my.
It's a well-known fact that a humble octopus is clever as far as animals go, but is there a limit to its potential? Despite their small size and alien-like tentacles, octopus are remarkably brainy, as evidenced by studies that have recorded them manipulating objects and using tools to solve simple problems. So can crows, though, right? The crows might rule the world, too.
Right. That'd be scary.
Yeah. Octopus intelligence is particularly interesting to science because it has evolved completely independently to our own. But just how intelligent could octopus become if they were left to their own devices for a few million years or more, time and evolution? In a recent article for The Conversation, Professor Cullum Brown of Macquarie University attempted to answer this very question after a 14-year-old school pupil wrote a letter asking if octopuses could one day become intelligent enough to take over the world and travel into space. One of the biggest arguments against octopuses evolving to human-like levels of intelligence, he noted, was that they simply don't live very long, with even the largest species living only 5 years. Wow. They only have the disadvantage of evolving extremely slowly compared to human. They also have the disadvantage, okay? There are about 300 different species of octopus. Aren't they octopi?
I was wondering the same thing.
Octopi, I thought.
Octopuses.
Yeah, they said octopuses up here. I'm like, that doesn't even feel right.
Wow.
Which have been around for the last 300 million years, Brown wrote. In that time, they haven't changed much. Modern humans, by comparison, have only existed for 200,000 years. Or have they? And at the time, and in that time, have taken over the planet and badly damaged it in the process. Well, we'll see. Hopefully not. Ultimately, then, octopus are somewhat restrained by their own biology.
Yeah, that would suck.
So the first item on an evil octopus to-do list for taking over the world is to live well beyond your first birthday. Brown wrote the second on the list might be to develop cumulative culture by learning from others like humans do. We already know that octopus can learn by watching other octopi, but it says octopuses again. But as yet, we don't have the evidence of culture. Very few creatures display intelligence comparable to humans, and understanding why is a long-standing scientific question. The most likely explanation is the brain tissue is extremely expensive to maintain. What? I don't understand that at all. In terms of energy required to keep the brain cells firing. So there need to be big benefits to justify the expense. All things considered, it seems unlikely that we'll be seeing spacefaring octopi anytime soon. Well, there you go. So rest easy, folks. Apparently not. False alarm. False alarm. Octopus are not going to be taking over the world.
Dang it.
I know. It's like maybe they could, do the terrible jobs though. All right.
Like some toilets?
Yeah, they can scrub toilets.
From the inside?
A lot of them. Oh, no, I didn't do that, did I?
Oh.
No, that was okay. That's okay. Okay, good. I was like, ooh. Yeah, I almost screwed up my whole presentation for tonight. Could have been a weird show in just a second there.
What would have been new?
Yeah, everything would have been brand new.
When something doesn't go sideways.
Hold on while I Google an entire show, folks. All right, man sees UFO emerge from portal over the UK. Wow. Again, from unexplained-mysteries.com. Great site. Definitely check them out. Pensioner from East Lancashire maintains he saw something very unusual in the sky 2 days ago. What's the time? We got 6 minutes. We're good.
Time to get ill.
The UK has been home to a great many UFO sightings over the decades, and this latest one, which has been described as something like out of a science fiction movie, is one of the most intriguing to date. According to the reports, a 72-year-old Ian Gibbons from Colne, Lancashire, has been looking out the patio window at around 6:30 p.m. on February 22nd when he spotted something strange in the sky. On a good night, Mars and Venus can usually be seen from where I live, he said. We've got great views out over the countryside, and on this particular night, the sky was clear and Venus had just appeared. I'm not into stargazing in a big way. I just like to look out the window and admire the sky. So I went to the patio and had a look out, and all of a sudden, this UFO came out of a portal. It was red and orange and circular. I grabbed my binoculars and got a good view of it while it hovered for a few seconds. But in the wink of an eye, it shot up into the sky and then sped off towards Skipton. As things stand, it remains unclear exactly what the object could have been. It definitely wasn't a plane or someone shining a light. I had a fantastic view of it. It was like something out of a sci-fi movie, he said. I think that's brilliant. It's just too bad he couldn't have captured an image of that. But, yeah, I mean, sounds like a down-to-earth guy. I don't know. I mean, what do you know? What do you really know of any of these people? But it could be a very valid sighting. The portal thing, I think, is really interesting. And if that has been observed, and you don't hear about that too much, but the whole portal thing, I think, is possibly pretty powerful. So maybe it lends more weight to the whole transdimensional thing, in a manner of speaking. I don't know. Just spitballing here as I go, folks. What was this one? Oh, what is this one? Oh, yeah. I remember this one. I don't know. For some reason, I was scrolled all the way down on it. All right, here we go. This is the next one up for grabs. And then we're going to go to our first break, folks. 4-year-old recalls past life 9/11 experience. Okay. A mother on TikTok has shared the remarkable recollections of her young daughter's alleged past life. While the concept of past lives and the idea that people can remember who they used to be remains a highly controversial topic, some researchers have documented tantalizing evidence suggesting there may be something more to the phenomena than a child's overactive imagination. Did I put it up? Yeah, I did. Okay. One intriguing example of this can be found in a video posted on TikTok by Riss White, a mother who was responding to a post asking for stories of children's past life recollections. According to White, on September 11th, 2018, she had been browsing news articles and memorial pieces about the 2001 terrorist attacks when her daughter seemed to recognize the Twin Towers. "Hey, Mom, I used to work there," she said, pointing to an image of the North Tower. When White asked her when that was, the 4-year-old replied, "Before." What she said next, however, would chill her mother to the bone. She said that one day she was working and the floor got really hot. She said so she stood on her desk because the floor was too hot, and then she said that her and her friends were trying to get through the door, but they couldn't open the door. So she jumped out of the window and flew like a bird. Of course, it's possible the little girl had somehow picked up references to the events of 9/11 from elsewhere, but it seems unlikely that she would have understood it at that age. Wow. Could she really be the reincarnation of someone who died that day? You decide. And there is a link to it. Again, it looks like if you go to this, I don't know, meme and whatever TikTok this is, you can watch them in your, by yourself or in your own time. But interesting enough, I don't know. I firmly believe in that stuff, Don. I think that there are kids that are coming back with their past life memories.
Yeah, and it's happening a lot lately.
Yeah, it seems to be.
So it's I wonder if it's that piercing of the veil stuff.
Could be. Could be. It's getting thinner, folks. But that's going to wrap up this version of the Paranormal Portal News. Thank you all. Let's get back to our regular program. All right, folks. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that news segment, but we have a lot more to go. Don't fear the Reaper, a nice story. It's illegitimate as it was. Yeah. Well, there you go. Even Bam said, not a credible writer if she didn't know octopi. Yeah, well, octopuses. Bam, octopuses. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't think... a lot of the articles that we read are not written by what we would call professional journalism. They're just written by people that have an interest in the subjects and may have got a gig writing for some open forum like that. And so I can't hold that against them. I think for the most part, they're still doing a cool thing, but it is different. My girlfriend has a past life memories that are really creepy. She told her mom at 2. I've been trying to convince her to call. Yeah, it'd be really cool. But in her own time. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to break number 1. We've made it. So don't go away. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't give up on us. We'll be taking attendance. So we'll be right back. hour number 2 starts now, folks. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal, second segment of our 4-segment night. 4 half-hour segments, one down, one just begun. But how you doing, Don? Good?
Doing good.
He's doing good, folks.
Doing good.
For those of you that might be new to the show, you just popped in, you're not familiar with how this all works. On Friday, Saturday nights, we are broadcasting on YouTube as well as simulcasting on TFR Live, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream as well. And that's not funny, Don. That wasn't even a punchline, dude.
No, it's something I read in chat.
Something you read in chat. But we do have to take breaks because those networks take breaks. So in lieu of streaming you a bunch of commercials, I put together those video segments with music to hopefully keep you entertained while that happens. So it's not because we don't like to do shows without breaks. It's because on Friday, Saturdays, we have to adhere to the break schedule. So I just want to explain that because sometimes about once a month I get a note like, what are you doing with those breaks? Jeez.
Send them to the cheap seats.
Yeah, send them to the cheap seats, yeah.
Hi, Daniela.
Hello, Daniela, and hello to all of you guys. And anybody new that's come in since we did the roll call earlier. But we are cooking through a night of paranormal fun and goodness. And by God, we're just having a good time. And let's get to some crazy articles, shall we?
Shall.
We shall.
We shall.
Over the break, man, I had a choice. I had to figure out what to do.
To share this.
so like I haven't eaten. I had two cheese sticks today, and that was this morning. Like 2 string cheese sticks, and then I'm like hungry, and so the food is ready, but it got ready just before the show, and I'm like, God, it's too hot. I can't eat it anyway. And then so at break time, it's like I got a choice. I can either go A, to the loo, or B, and eat food. So I went and devoured a chicken thigh quick. So I'll be probably crossing my legs a little bit on this segment. But if I start panic reading, you'll know why. Or bouncing or wiggling in my chair.
I think I peed a little.
I might spot a little bit here. But
oh, God.
I might be spotting, but it's one of those, it's like what do they call those where you got a tough choice to make? I forget. There's this term for it. But anyway, this is my world, folks. Welcome to my world. We're going to go to an article right away here.
I hope so.
We're going to go to something more entertaining than my body functions, probably. Hopefully, anyway. But this first article tonight is coming from a site called the Occult Museum. And as the weather's getting warmer, and like today, I went outside. It was beautiful here.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Peter. It was beautiful today, and as such, I got outside. But I think we're all getting that cabin fever. We want to get out and
Yes.
walk and move and stuff, and we're going to head out to the wild places. And so I found this article online from the Occult Museum.
Nice.
You just might want to be careful out there because tonight's first article is the 10 most haunted hiking trails in America. So I don't know where you live, but and I haven't read this before either. So there's a lot of hopefully new information coming at us. But it says hiking is a peaceful and transcendent experience. Mm-hmm. There's nothing better than leaving the real world behind for a day or two, venturing into the wilderness. It puts things into perspective and reinforces the kinship we share with nature.
Oh, there you go.
Amen. That's really well written. However, some national parks are plagued by dark histories, local legends, and tales of restless spirits, making them the perfect place for hikers who seek something a little more supernatural to go with their adventure in the great outdoors. And I don't think anybody in this audience is not familiar with David Paulides' Missing 411. Right. A lot of those happen in these national parks, so let's see what it says. From the ghost of a little boy who roams Bluff Mountain and the Lady of the Lake, who lurks in the deep waters of Lake Crescent. Wonder if she distributes swords.
I don't know.
Here are the 10 most haunted hiking trails in America.
She distributes. Would you like one?
I don't think that some woman in a lake distributing swords is basis for monarchy. All right. In the heart of the Grand Canyon Northern Rim, the 3-mile Transept Trail is famously known to be haunted by the Wailing Woman. It's said during storms, a woman dressed in white and holding blue flowers appears on the trail, screaming in fury. Sightings of the spirit are well documented by hikers. She's said to haunt the trail at night, manifesting from the darkness and terrifying anyone she encounters. According to one legend, her husband and son died in an accident on the trail years ago, while another claims she is the spirit of a woman who drowned her children so she could be with the man she loved. When he spurned her, she committed suicide and was cursed to wander the trail thereafter, searching for her children. There's a lot of stories like this. So, as you pour through ghost legends and lore, and we don't talk a lot about them here on the show because there's so many other shows that have done them to death, and I oftentimes don't like to visit the real historical things because I think while there may be some basis for some activity, it's just a lot of times it's just legends and maybe some auditory phenomena that happens in more unique to the area than an actual apparition or a presence. And maybe it's a little both, but there's so many places that have stories like this. It's like hotels. Every hotel, big hotel, if it has some history, there's the spurned bride to be who was left at the altar, and they were supposed to stay at the hotel for the honeymoon, and of course she doesn't make it through the night because she's so heartbroken and saddened. And so every hotel has some kind of bride to be that's forever after then haunts the hotel, and every bridge has the crying babies. Like a lot of bridges have the crying babies where some destitute mother dumped their child to get rid of them, and so there's a lot of these legends, and I suppose the more people believe in something, the more real it becomes. But I don't know.
Magoo says, why is it always a woman in white, never in paisley? Because paisley's not a color.
Paisley's a pattern, right?
Paisley's a pattern. Just ask Paisley. She'll be on after our show.
After the show, yeah. Great segue there, Don.
Nice. She'll be talking about time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She's talking about time tonight. We will have time to listen to that later.
Oh, White
Sands National Monument is the next one on our list, and it's for those who hike the Alkali Flat Trail at sunset may just be lucky enough to catch an otherworldly glimpse of Pavla Blanca, also known as the ghost of the Great White Sands. Why is that funny?
It's just, why is it always white?
Oh. Well, the sands, I think, is what was white this time.
White sands, gotcha.
Pavla Blanca legend comes from the central New Mexico Indians and dates back to the 16th century. The story goes that a beautiful young Spanish maiden named Manuela was due to wed a handsome conquistador. Before they could marry, he was attacked in the desert by a group of Apache warriors. Suffering a fatal wound, he died beneath the swirling sands of the desert. And it is said that the ghost of the Spanish maiden haunts the area to this very day. She comes at sunset in her flowing white wedding gown. There you go, Don. It is white. To search for her lost love buried somewhere beneath the dunes of the white sands. Wow, that's tragically sad.
Yeah.
Then you can head over to the Norton Creek Trail, folks, once you get done with those other ones. And this is the Great Smoky Mountains in North Carolina. That's Deb's area.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if she's right in the mountains around
North
here.
Carolina,
Yeah. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park is home to several ghostly tales. Multiple cemeteries span the Northern Creek Trail, so it is little wonder that some ghostly apparitions have been seen wandering from their final resting places. The native Cherokee people believe that a witch named Spearfinger is also among them, and that this evil spirit haunts the area, hunting and feeding on children who stray from the trail. But it's not all bad. Along Norton Creek, a much friendlier ghost has also been sighted, appearing as a bright light that leads lost hikers to safety.
Ah.
Well, that's nice.
Wow.
Somebody's doing a deed. I mean, if you gotta fall into trails, it'd be good to have one good one. It's like, you lost. Follow me. Boy, this is gonna be fun. Chilnualna Falls Trail, number 4, Yosemite National Park, California. The 8-mile-long Chilnualna Falls Trail in Yosemite National Park loops around 2 waterfalls and follows the edge of Grouse Lake, within which lives the ghost of a boy who drowned long ago. According to the Awanachee tribal legend, you're just having a good time over there. the cries of a young child can still be heard, and anyone who jumps in the lake looking for the boy will suffer a watery death. Native Americans also believe Pohono, which is the evil spirit of the waterfalls, call the area home. Hikers on the trail are advised to tread carefully, as Pohono are known to lure wanderers to the cliff's edge where they are pushed to their death, so watch your step.
Wow.
Yikes.
A bunch of pushy ghosts.
Absolutely. They're looking to recruit, I guess.
Yeah, no doubt.
This one's called the Devil's Den.
Yes.
You know, anytime something has a devil's name in there, you know it's got to be bad.
Well, this is Gettysburg.
Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, as a matter of fact. You're right. where they keep Gettysburg, I guess.
Yeah,
the Gettysburg.
Yeah, otherwise it gets up and wanders away.
You gotta start looking for it and find it over in Tennessee or something. Yeah. The Gettysburg National Battlefield was the site of the Civil War's bloodiest battle. With over 50,000 dead, it's a small wonder that some of the fallen have stuck around, unable to leave the horror of war behind. The area known as Devil's Den was used for sniper fire, but is now known as one of the most haunted areas in Gettysburg. Visitors to the site often report unseen hands fiddling with electronics, namely cameras. Fully charged batteries go flat in seconds, and those lucky enough to snap a picture or two often find them imprinted with blurry apparitions of soldiers. Eyewitnesses' accounts talk of ghostly figures that suddenly appear and then just as quickly disappear, mostly taking place at sunset, when it's said that the majority of the paranormal phenomena is said to occur.
Yeah.
I wonder why sunset?
Because it's got to be spooky. Maybe they can't be seen, in the daylight.
Yeah, that's true. It could be the luminescence issue, I suppose.
Yeah, sure.
But, yeah, that's strange. Huh. It's just because, most often the most active time for paranormal activity, according to a lot of paranormal researchers, is basically 3 to 5 a.m. 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., or at least 3 to 4. But, yeah, that's kind of the real witching hour, even though midnight is often called the witching hour. But all right, this is Spruce Railroad Trail. Spruce Railroad Trail. The Spruce Railroad Trail in the Olympic National Park runs through the forest near Lake Crescent. Are you familiar with that one?
I am not.
According to local lore, within the dark depths of the lake, which plunges down to 600 feet or more, lives the spirit known as the Lady of the Lake. In 1937, Haley Latham Illingworth was murdered by her husband. He wrapped the body in blankets and disposed of it in the lake. However, 3 years later, the body mysteriously resurfaced. Stranger still, when the blankets were removed, she was perfectly preserved and showed no sign of decay. Her husband was arrested and sent to prison for her murder, but it is said that her vengeful spirit still haunts the area. She has been seen gliding over the clear waters of the lake and roaming the trail that runs alongside it, calling for help from unsuspecting tourists. But if you see her, don't help. It's just a lure to drag you down into the watery graves.
They all float down here.
Yeah, that's creepy. I don't know. You gotta wonder: is there a precedent for that? Like, say there was an angry spirit. Would it be preoccupied with dragging other people to their deaths, or is it just, maybe something about the water is just real dangerous, or maybe there's rocks underwater, people bump their heads and go unconscious. I don't know. I often wonder: is there really spirits that would go out of their way to kill other people?
If it's possible, it's possible. I mean, we hear about vengeful spirits all the time, and
Sure.
how it's because they're still coming to terms with being dead in the first place, or maybe they're just mad enough they want to kill somebody, and somebody walks by and goes, "Oh, you look like this person." Drown.
Yeah. Oh, you look like Becky. Oh, I hated that woman.
I hated her. Well, that wasn't Becky. That was Karen.
Oh, Karen. Karen.
Titan last night on Paisley's show. If somehow Karen's got brought up, and she was talking about burdens, and the burdens we carry, mental, physically, that kind of thing. And Titan says a group of Karens is called a burden. Like, wow.
That's a new. When they flock together, you call it a burden. Wow. That's pretty clever.
But vengeful spirits, sure, why not? We've heard a lot about that. So.
Yeah. It's a weird concept. I don't know. You'd think, I don't know. I guess I don't know what to think. But it's just a question that's always on my mind. Like, really, would they really go out of their way to do that? But I guess we've often heard that there's not really any difference between a living person and a dead person, other than they don't have bodies anymore. So if they were murderous in their lives, they would probably maintain that in their afterlife if they can.
Americans.
Americans. All right, number 7 is Big Bend National Park. And this is from Texas. Here you go, Titan. This is from your land. They say everything in Texas is bigger, and the ghosts that haunt Big Bend National Park are no exception. Native American, Spanish soldiers, and cowboys are all known to haunt the park's trails. The Chisos Mountains, in particular, are said to be haunted by Chief Alzate, the last leader of the Chisos Apaches, who was killed by a Mexican firing squad in 1882. Legend tells that when his body hit the ground, the mountains shook. And if you view the Chisos from the north, you can see the outline of his face etched in the peaks and valleys. Some say he's also responsible for the Marfa lights, glowing orbs that are regularly seen in the desert northwest of Big Bend. Hikers have also reported seeing the spirits of a young girl who drowned herself to avoid capture by bandits. La Lorna, or the Wailing Woman, has also been spotted roaming the land, as has a phantom bull, which is believed to be a harbinger of death and murders to come.
Oh, that's a bunch of bull.
That's a lot of bull.
That's a lot of bull.
That's a big bull. Big stack of bull. That's wild. Very wild. How are we doing here? We got 9 minutes. We're good. Number 8, rather. Welcome to Fun with Counting with Brent Thomas. It turns out 8 follows 7.
No.
True.
True. 7, 8, 9.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
We'll have to go right to 10 then.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Great Falls, Chesapeake, and Ohio National Historical Park, Maryland. The Gold Mine Trail in Great Falls Park lays claim to an abandoned gold mine that was the site of a supposed Tommyknockers haunting. According to legend, in 1906, a miner named Charlie Elgin set his lantern down next to dynamite.
Nice.
Huh?
I didn't know it'd go boom. Yeah.
Look at his box of candles. Igniting it and causing an explosion that killed him.
Darwin Award.
Yeah, really. Well, when the mine reopened, it soon became clear that all was not right. Knocking and thumping sounds were heard in the walls and tools went missing. Being superstitious in nature, the miners blamed the strange happenings on Tommyknockers, which are impish spirits found in Welsh folklore. After a night watchman emerged from the mine shivering with fright and telling a wild tale of a demon-like apparition with eyes of fire that appeared before him in the night, word spread and the mine closed soon after. Today, the mine has been reopened for curious visitors who are brave enough to explore the dark tunnels and the spirits that are rumored to still reside within them. That's wild. Is this actually a picture of it? I mean, that looks like doesn't look like your typical mine thing, was it?
Well, maybe it was developed a little more for
maybe
touristy,
That could be. Wow. Of course, the Appalachian Trail. Man, there's the Trail of Tears, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the Appalachian Trail in Virginia, a small memorial sits atop of Bluff Mountain in memory of Oddie Powell, a 4-year-old boy who went missing in 1891 after straying from the path while collecting firewood. His body was found 5 months later on the mountaintop, but his spirit has remained and is said to haunt the surrounding areas. Walkers of the trail and campers who spend the night at the Punch Bowl Shelter, which is located just over a mile from the memorial, regularly report sightings of a lone boy wandering through the woods.
Wow.
How sad, though. A 4-year-old boy out by himself collecting firewood.
Now,
They were made of a tougher metal back then, for sure.
That's true.
Man, I mean, and kids really had to pull their weight. It's absolutely tragic. But I'm just thinking of, the Minion. He's 5 now.
Right.
When he was 4, I might let them get about 20 feet away from me at max.
During the day.
Yeah, only in the day. And then at night, he's, nope, you're here, staying. But can you imagine sending your 4-year-old go out and collect some firewood? I couldn't imagine that. And apparently it didn't work out real well anyway, but man, that's so sad. Okay, so that was Appalachian Trail in Virginia. Then we're moving down to the Appalachian Trail in New Hampshire. And this should be the last one on our list here. It says the Appalachian Trail, New Hampshire. Further north on the Appalachian Trail in New Hampshire, the ghost of Ben Campbell is said to haunt the White Mountains area after dark. While Campbell actually died on a hike in Scotland, he was planning to return home to hike the Appalachian Trail. Apparently he did just that because his footsteps can often be heard echoing through the landscape.
Wow.
You might even see his boots, which were left here by his family as a memorial.
Huh.
Aw, well, that's very cool. That's kind of a innocuous, benign kind of haunting. It's like just the footsteps, just his steps of completing that task or that goal of his. So very cool. That's wonderful. Good article. What do you think of those, Don?
I think those are fun. I like those. I've yet to, experience something like that. So let's go.
You want to go hiking?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Well,
there's some known haunted trail,
and that's
see what happens.
That's something we got to start really talking about is some excursions for us.
Excursions.
Yeah. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? We got to start looking into that because the portal wants to get out and investigate. We had a lot of fun when we were up in Coloma, and it was a great time, great opportunity, and had a wonderful time meeting several of you guys. So we hope to do that again and do more of that. And I hope we can pull some things together.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's probably going to be regionally specific for the time being. But if the show can grow, we will definitely expand throughout the nation and possibly Canada and abroad, depending on what the show can accommodate.
Right.
So that's why we really want the show to grow. So please help us us spread the word.
Android Purity is asking for the link.
The link to what?
What you just read.
This hiking trail thing? Sure. Yeah, I'll post that in the chats for both. Let me pull this up here. Abroad. No, it's one word, Viva. not two. One word. All right. Let's do this and let's do that. There we go. So that link that I just read is in both chat rooms. Check it out.
You didn't post the link. You posted the chat pop out.
Oh, Jesus. How did I do that?
I don't know.
I don't even know. Okay, don't click that. You'll just end up back in the chat. That's weird. How the hell did that happen? Let's try it again. Clicky, draggy, right clicky, copy. I could do Control V, Control C, or Control C, Control V, but I ain't all about that. There it is. That's the one you should check. No. Why is it doing that, dude? It's giving me only that same.
So use Control C, Control V.
All right, we'll try the traditional Control C. I'm trying it, folks, but it's continually copying the same thing. Yeah, it's Studio YouTube Live Chat.
Oh,
what the hell is it doing that for?
Apparently, we're not supposed to post that. Sorry, Android.
I do apologize. I wish I could. Let me see if I can post it over to my other browser here and see if that works. No, it's doing the same thing. Some reason I have an inability to copy links currently. But I will tell you, it's on the Occult Museum. Or no, wasn't it the Occult Museum?
Yes.
It's the Occult Museum. It's on the screen here. The Occult Museum, and the article is titled. So if you go to the Google and just do the 10 most haunted hiking trails in America, this will come up on Google. So please feel free to do that. I'm sorry I can't give you a direct link, but I don't know. I have no idea why I can't suddenly copy links. Very strange. But look at this. Even that one is now this.
Wow.
That's really weird. Even this link up here is now the chat. Very weird. Very, very weird. But anyway, I'm going to close that before I end up screwing something else up. Let me try this again. This is one that we're going to start reading here in just a second. Copy. I don't know. Maybe I screwed it up somehow. Paste. Yeah, that works.
That worked.
Okay.
I don't know.
This is an article we're going to start reading here in just probably after the break, because we're almost at break, folks. So now I must have screwed it up somehow. Sorry about that, folks. But I hope you're able to find it. If not, just remember the Cult Museum, 10 most favorite haunted hiking trails. Check them out. Maybe something does not want me to visit those 3 locations.
Not Viva.
Could be.
Goodness.
Jeez. All right, I got to... let's take care of that.
Break time.
All right. So, folks, we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. We're going to go to the hour break, and I hope you guys will stick around and join us for the second hour of the show. Don't go away.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Everybody likes to play that game. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart.
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that's different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Welcome, everybody. Hour number 2 is upon us. I hope you guys are ready for another thrill ride through the Paranormal Portal. I'm better now, Don.
I think some people got worried. They're like, is the show over? Because some people had to leave, so they were saying bye. And there's this whole long list of chats like, oh, we'll see you later, blah, blah, blah. No, we're not. We're still here. We got another
hour to go, folks. If you stick around, you can put up with us for another full hour.
Viva says the Valeska house. We've talked about that before.
Yep, we've talked about that. Absolutely. And that's very potentially doable, but we got to iron out the whens. Though.
I don't want to drive to Iowa.
I know.
I hate driving to Iowa.
I know, but I don't know. It's like even flying right now is a pain.
Oh my God.
Like everything's a pain.
Ugh, yes.
I just want normal, damn it. I don't know. What do you do?
What is the new normal?
I hate that phrase. I hate that. It just means what are you willing to live without now?
Exactly.
What are your liberties don't you need no more?
How about the freedom of travel?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Anyway, without getting too political.
This happened to me on Paisley Show last night, too.
Did it? Yeah. I know, but it's fresh on all of our minds because it's something all of us are dealing with. But, that's part of why I want to get out and meet people, get out and do things because there's a lot of incredible things out there that we should be experiencing, not just, being a studio show.
Right.
And we have gone out and done some research and, as I mentioned last year in Coloma, last 2 years actually, but you made it last year, Don. But we had a great time, and there's opportunities all over the map for us to go check things out, and we just got to be able to get out and do it. So we got remember after the show tonight, if you're listening on TFR, iHeart, tune in or TalkStream Live. You got to stick around because Pays the Wild's coming up next. The Spaces Between is her show, and she'll be talking about time. And hope you have time for that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. But what can I say? Got a lot more to go. We're going to get to our next article, which is the link that I posted earlier. This is going to be an article called from listverse.com, 10 alleged UFO sightings witnessed by students at school.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
How much you want to bet that the little miniatures in Malaysia are one of these? This is from listverse.com, and it's a good little article, I think. We'll see, though. But it says there are countless UFO sightings all over the world, but some of the most compelling stories come from not just one person, but rather an entire group of people who've witnessed a strange phenomena together. For whatever reason, schools have become a common place for UFO sightings to occur. True believers think that young school children are less threatening to aliens, so it makes them easier to approach with their messages from beyond our galaxy. Is this whimsy from active imaginations? Is it a shared psychosis? Or have these students truly witnessed extraterrestrial life? The first one is the aerial school encounter. Okay. 1994, class of 62 children at the Ariel Elementary School in Zimbabwe were playing outside during recess. The teacher was distracted indoors. The kids all heard a high-pitched whistling noise followed by a flash of light. A silver UFO landed in the schoolyard, and several aliens came out of the craft. Wow. The children felt paralyzed. All they could do was stare at the aliens, big black eyes. Images began flashing in the children's minds as the aliens spoke with them telepathically. One girl explained that the aliens told her that humans were not taking care of the planet properly, and the world was going to end. Her mind was filled with images of trees dying and the oxygen on Earth running out. When the aliens left, the children could move again. They all started screaming and running back into the schoolhouse to tell their teacher what happened. Dr. John Mack, a psychiatrist from Harvard University, visited the Ariel school to interview the children and teachers. The interviews were all recorded on video, and Dr. Mack asked each of the children to draw what the aliens and the craft looked like, and all of their stories and drawings matched.
Wow.
Dr. Mack said that from his years of psychiatric experience, he knows when people are lying or delusional. He completely believed their story. Even as adults, all of the kids maintained that what they saw was real and that the aliens were trying to send a warning to mankind. Number 9 is the Hillsdale College. One evening in March 1966, a young female student of Hillsdale College in Michigan was leaving her dorm when she saw a large glowing disc hovering above the campus. She called the police, and an officer named William Van Horn showed up. Roughly 100 students poured out of the dorm to witness this UFO. The glowing object began to move towards a nearby swamp and then flew up into the night sky. After receiving the report from Officer Van Horn, a representative from the U.S. Air Force named Dr. Hynek, J. Allen Hynek, sure, showed up to examine the area, and during a press conference, he claimed that he found no evidence of any spacecraft and theorized that the students saw burning swamp gas. Dr. Hynek received a lot of public backlash for those comments, which forced him to do a more thorough investigation. He tested the soil near the swamp where the students claimed the UFO had landed. The dirt contained abnormally high amounts of radiation as well as boron, which is an element used for nuclear energy. Dr. Hynek tried to brush it off once again, saying it must have been a prank with fireworks from college boys. Wow, why was he so...
Maybe this was before he really became a believer.
Maybe. I don't know. This is what, in 66? Yeah.
Yep.
I suppose it could have been. But
Well, yeah, maybe.
this is Project Blue Book time, yeah. So, I don't know. This is... that's terribly disappointing, though, that's how he handled it. I know that he did a lot of research, and that's where Donald Raymond Schmidt worked with Dr. Hynek. And was involved, of course, in the Roswell research, but I didn't know he had been so involved in so many cover-ups.
Well, but he was with the Air Force, correct?
Yeah.
Well, so maybe he was just doing his job at that time.
Sure, Project Blue Book. Yeah, yep. I'm sure it was, but man, oof. Elder Park Primary is the next one. That's number 8. In 1952, Glasgow, Scotland, Joan Torrance was walking home with her friends from Elder Park Primary School. It was 4 p.m. in the early summer, so the sun was still very bright in the sky. Joan had just made it across the playground when the sky suddenly went dark. Her friends didn't seem to notice as they continued walking, but Joan turned around to look back at the school, and she saw a sombrero-shaped silver saucer hanging above the building. It was so large that it blocked the sunlight. The janitor and one teacher came outside and stared up at the UFO, and Joan felt frozen in place like she couldn't move. The UFO began to rotate and time stood still. In the blink of an eye, she could hear a whistling sound, and the ship blasted back up into the sky. When she got home, Joan told her mom about what had happened, but she didn't believe it. But the next day, the newspaper reported that locals in the town had seen a flying saucer.
Wow.
Yeesh. That's what I'm telling you. These are great because there's so many witnesses. It's not just one person, possibly having a cognitive, embolism, but these are people in groups witnessing the same thing. Here's Broadhaven Primary School. Excuse me. It was 1977 at Broadhaven Primary School in Wales. All sports activities had stopped cold as a group of boys were staring at a silver craft with a dome in the middle. It landed across the field from the schoolyard, and they saw a man walking outside of the craft, but he was too far away to make out the details of his face. When the UFO flew away, the boys bolted back into the school and began to frantically tell the headmaster what had just happened. He told them all to calm down and interviewed the boys one by one. Each of the students drew pictures of the UFO, and all of them had the same story to tell. The boys weren't the only ones. A woman named Rosa Granville was living in Broadhaven, and soon after the craft left the school, she saw it land at her hotel, which was on the edge of a seaside cliff. She got close enough to see the faceless humanoid men inside. Soon after, a red rash, radiation poisoning began to form on her face, and the ground where the UFO landed was burned. A few days later, 2 men in black suits showed up and asked her questions. Years after Rose's death, her daughter, Francine, was getting ready to sell the hotel. The local media asked to interview her about her mom's alien sighting. She had no idea her mom had seen a UFO because she'd never talked about it. According to Francine, Rosa was a very serious and level-headed woman, and she would never have lied about something like that. Yikes. Yeah, isn't that... do you think they would use just radiation? Is that possible?
Well, it may be, so when we hear about unidentified craft landing, and when we talk about crop circles, they always talk about the radiation that's left on the ground. So maybe it's some propulsion system or something that's actually leaving this behind. So maybe it's not they used it on her. She was just close enough that she was affected by it.
Sure. But, it just seems to me these are possibly thousands, tens of thousands or more years advanced. Mm-hmm. And it still seems bizarre that the best that they could come up for power was still nuclear energy.
Well, maybe it's not necessarily from nuclear. Maybe it's from fission power.
Would that still leave radiation? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not certainly not a.
And I'm not
biologist or whatever that be.
A nuclear physicist. Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
No, I don't believe anybody here would know. But doesn't it seem like they would have tapped into something more exotic and natural? I don't know. It's just me, but it's like, wow, they're still just leaving these radioactive hotspots around and baking people as they watch them. I don't know. Anyway.
And those people will go good with those cow anuses we got.
Yeah. Why don't you go broil us up some tourists? All right. Well, maybe they're being cooked. Got the hors d'oeuvres.
How do you like your human?
Yeah.
I like my little medium rare.
They get done quicker if they quit running away.
Yeah. Why do they always make us chase them?
Yeah. The Westall High School. In April 1966, class of students were outside getting exercise at Westall High School in Melbourne, Australia, when they saw a silver disc flying above them. The disc would alternate between moving so quickly that it practically teleported and hovering almost completely still. A few of the students rushed inside to tell their friends. More and more people began to come outside to see this UFO, totaling over 200 witnesses, both teachers and students. The UFO eventually descended into the woods, and then it shot back up, turned on its side, and completely disappeared into a flash of light. Students and teachers of Westall High weren't the only ones to see this. One witness from the town ran to the area in the woods where the UFO appeared to go down, and sure enough, there was a large circle where the grass had been pushed down. Something heavy had recently landed there. He tried to visit a second time and came face to face with armed men in military uniforms.
Wow.
They were checking the ground for radiation with Geiger counters.
Yeah.
According to National Geographic, the government flight records for that day had been destroyed, so there were never any conclusive answer as to what the silver disc actually was. I'm going to go with UFO, Don.
Why would they destroy flight records?
Well, I don't know. This again, I don't know. Maybe the public has ready access to that, and they just didn't want people proving it was a UFO. No, it was one of ours. Well, show us the flight record. We can't. There was a glitch. We just had a glitch, see? All right. No, I don't know. This is number 5 is Greenock Elementary School. And let's find out what's going on there. In 1948, a 9-year-old girl named Linda was walking home from school for her lunch break with a friend in Greenock, Scotland. And they both heard a strange buzzing noise and looked up to see multiple flying saucers in the air. The UFOs were flying so low that they could see occupants inside, but they couldn't make out their physical features. Instead of feeling scared, they treated it like any child when seeing a low-flying airplane or hot air balloon. They began waving and jumping up and down, and the aliens waved back.
Wow.
That's cool. That's cool. Gotta respect that. Linda reports that the UFO continued to follow them on their walk home as if they were being observed. Hey, let's watch them walk.
Hey,
Yep.
free candy.
Look both ways, kids. Then they flew away and disappeared. This sounds like a story a child could easily make up for attention. However, in 1948, the odds of a 9-year-old girl knowing what a stereotypical UFO looks like seems a bit low. Yeah, that could be true. We're going to Aberdeen Elementary this time. Jane Freeman was playing at school in Scotland when she noticed a silver flying disc in the sky. Nothing remarkable happened and no one else was there to see it. The UFO flew away even though she had never thought about it before that day. She suddenly had an interest in space and looking for knowledge about life on other planets. A few years later, her parents had moved the family to a new house in England. In the middle of the night, Jane heard a noise and looked on out the window to see a UFO shaped like a swollen pancake. She happily ran outside and was greeted by an alien who looked like a human man wearing a black suit. As an adult, the same humanoid aliens apparently visited her a few more times. Her descriptions of the events align with other stories by apparent abductees, and there were never any other witnesses for her claims. Wow. So they were definitely following her then, right?
Observers.
They were observing her. St. Mark's Primary School is next. 1978, a group of school children were playing outside of St. Mark's Primary School in Glasgow, Scotland. Scotland's coming up a ton.
What's coming up with Scotland?
I don't know. I have to ask Kev what's going on over there, dude. They got a lot of UFO stuff. They all witnessed a silver UFO shining in the sky, hovering above the school. One of the boys, named Evan Riley, described it as being shaped like 2 fedora hats joined together. Compared to the other UFO sightings, this one was relatively small, at only 1.2 meters, 4 feet across. None of the teachers witnessed this, and when the kids tried to tell them that they saw a UFO, they were brushed off as having overactive imaginations. Oh no, poor kids. In 1993, Riley was interviewed for a local newspaper, and he maintained that the UFO he saw that day was real. It left such an impression on him that the image of it remained ingrained in his brain even so many years later. Yeah, I suppose.
Ingrained in his membrane.
Ingrained in the brain. Sorry. Going old school here, folks. Thank you very much. Whippingham Primary School. This is number 2. We're getting down the list. Almost done. That's about perfect for the break, too. We're pacing it well done. 2 boys attending Whippingham Primary School on the Isle of Wight in 1967 were on the school grounds when they noticed ash and sparks falling from the sky at around 8:45 a.m. They looked up and saw a large UFO. They described it as being milky white because it reflected the surrounding clouds in order to blend in. As the day progressed, the boys looked out the classroom window, and they could still see it hovering, moving very slowly. It seemed to be out of control, losing altitude and stopping every so often, and eventually it began to rise and flew away. Obviously, they were doing repairs. They had a flat. That's like UFO for flat tire. On the bus ride home, one of the boys glanced at the cornfield across the street from the school, and stalks had been pushed down as if something had crashed into the field. The boys told their parents, who called the police, and investigators looked at the cornfield, and sure enough, there were crop circles in a vortex pattern.
Wow.
Yikes. How about that? Way to represent. Number 1, Crestview Elementary School. The National UFO Reporting Center was established in 1974 to collect sightings from witnesses who were rejected by traditional media outlets. One of these stories happened in Miami, Florida, at Crestview Elementary School in 1967. According to one witness, over 100 children and teachers were playing outside at recess when 3 oval-shaped flying saucers broke through the clouds. One of the UFOs was as big as a cruise ship, and the other 2 were much smaller. The teachers were frantic, unsure what to do. The big ship landed in a field near the school, and the other 2 ships disappeared from view. The children were told to run back to their homes immediately. A couple of the students jumped on their bikes, and instead of heading home, they rode towards the UFO landing site as fast as they could. God bless those
Never
kids.
to be seen again.
There was no aircraft in the field, but the ground looked burned, and the grass was pushed down. The next day, uniformed men from the government were surveying the area, and local reporters from Miami Herald interviewed the boys on the bikes. Instead of reporting the boys' testimonies about the UFO, the newspaper claimed that 3 helicopters had scared the teachers and students.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Right.
Helicopters.
What's that smell? Cover up.
That smells like a load of bull. Paduki. Wow. That's horrible. But there you go.
Well, what do you expect, the boys to do? I mean, do you think they were really going to ride home?
I did. I really did, because I thought they'd be freaked out.
Would you have?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'd have been like,
hell no, I'd have been I'd be riding on the handlebars. Get there!
I spent way too much time watching the old Twilight Zone. It's like, I'm not on the menu.
Dude, stop leaning to the left. I can't go.
Yeah.
Just ride.
Pedal. No, I don't know what I would have done. I would like to think that I would have been brave like those kids, but I don't think I would have been.
Oh, I'd
be like, nope.
Just dumb like those kids.
Well, that is.
I'd been right there with them. Let's go.
Would you?
Come on, yeah.
For sure, huh?
Yeah.
Well, my hat's off to you. I mean,
well, but I would have. I'm speculating what I would have done.
Right, but you know yourself. And I, my hat's off to them. Anybody that can do that would ride towards something that's freaking everyone else out. I mean, what if the hatch opened and out comes the killer robots? Like, you're the first ones cooked.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, we got some cow anuses. You'll taste good with them.
Yeah. Come on over to the Wilson farm. We'll get you a fresh batch of cow anus. You can core them all day long.
Oh man.
Oh.
Butter and garlic.
You need a hell of a lot of garlic to make that taste good.
Whatever. Well, you've had a McRib, right?
I have.
Pork O-rings. Wow.
Pork O-rings?
Pork
no.
O-rings, yeah. Ground up, made in the McRib sandwiches.
I don't know. It wasn't on the menu that way, so I didn't know. It looked like ribs, Don.
Well, it was made from pork. That's all it was.
Yes, that I knew. I figured it was made from, but they were delicious. I remember those things.
They were. Mm-hmm.
You never had a McRib?
Oh, hell no.
Really?
Oh, God, no. I can't eat McDonald's.
Even since way back when?
Oh, even way back when.
Wow. Okay.
You
got a sensitive constitution.
No, McDonald's just sucks.
I love McDonald's. Yeah. Actually, it's not good for you, but I love that stuff. It's like garbage food, but it's good garbage.
No, garbage food. Good garbage food would be like, my top 3 would be like Wendy's, Burger King, and
yes, Wendy. I gotta say, the Wendy's classic triple is like God. Tongue crack.
They got this new brioche bun pub burger that's just divine.
Divine?
Divine.
Folks, you heard it here first.
Oh, it's divine.
The Longbeard saying divine. I imagine it is, but anytime I'm near a Wendy's, it's like,
I know, Frosty.
I got to get that classic triple.
Frosty.
No, I don't even care about the Frosties.
Oh, I care about the Frosties.
No, I don't know, but I love those classic triples. It's like, I only get them about once a year, if that, but...
Did I ever tell you about when I was in high school, I used to work at Wendy's?
No, you never mentioned this.
I was running the grill one day, and so you got the cash registers where they take the orders, and they down, and then right next to it was the burger grill, right? So you could actually look around. So
sure.
One guy jumped over one day. He was just mad. He grabs one of my hamburger flippers, and we used to sharpen them so we could scrape the grill.
Yeah.
He cut me right here. I got a scar. He stabbed me with the... I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, Jesus.
What was he doing?
I don't know. He was just mad. I don't even know what he was mad about. I was making a burger.
He was in a burger frenzy, Don.
I know.
Man was hungry.
He needed the mayonnaises.
He should have had a McRib handy. Hand him a McRib. He would have been just fine. Oh, no. I love Wendy's, though.
Wendy's.
All right. Stuff. Anyway, folks, we're going to head to our last break here. So we'll be right back with 1/2 hour of the program left to go. So please don't leave us because we love the company. Otherwise, it's kind of silly for us to be here doing this. But thank you to all of you who are here. Again, we have to take the commercials to stay in sync with the network, but we will be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't lose faith. We haven't left you. We're only taking a moment to reflect. And we'll get back and do another couple articles or an article and a half or something and see what we can dig up for the last part of the show. So, waiting for that bell, Don. There's the bell.
There it is.
All right, we'll be right back, folks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Last half hour of the show. Actually, last 25 minutes.
25 minutes?
Can you believe it? But coming up next, if you're listening on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, is Paisley Wild, The Spaces Between, and she'll be discussing time on her show. And if you're not familiar with The Spaces Between, it's a great show. Discussion format, talking about esoteric, New Age, occults, pagan, lots of different ideas and philosophies and principles. And she does a wonderful job. And our very own Don Longbeard is part of the action over there, too.
If I'm not falling asleep.
Yeah, well, I mean, as it goes. But, yeah, you're definitely wearing a couple hats for sure.
That's true, yeah.
Couple of shows in your week, isn't there?
Yep.
Over there, and then you do a couple here, too. So
Yep.
It's a hell of a deal. Plus, Don produces the podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
So if you're listening to the podcast of the Paranormal Portal, which you can find on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Stitcher, that's Don's work putting it all together into a show format for the most part.
I do okay.
Yeah, you're doing all right, huh? Yeah, he does all right. So, and if you're not familiar with the podcast, please get familiar with it. This is not it. This is our YouTube show. The podcast is generally completely different. 95% of the time, it's all new, different episodes. Every once in a while, we take a YouTube show and port it over. But for the most part, the podcasts are all independent shows. And we hope you'll check them out and hope you love it and get subscribed. And if you're on a platform that allows you to leave reviews, please leave us good reviews. That would mean a lot. It goes a long way anyway. So I don't know what else to say. Another way you can help support the show is check out Teespring. And the link is in the YouTube description. But if you want to check it out yourself, you can do so by going to teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal and check out the portal gear over there. You could have one of the sexiest shirts in existence. I'm just saying. All right, so let's see where we're going now, Don. Where should we go now, Don?
Let's go.
Let's go fishing. No, let's not go fishing. I don't think we can go fishing. Probably not enough Wi-Fi out there. Here's another.
This is not a valid menu option.
I didn't choose anything, but that's still a choice.
We made no choice, but that is a choice. That's apparently not a choice. I don't know what that is, folks. Here's the full disclosure. I don't know. Every once in a great while that happens. I don't know what on my computer is generating that message. It only happens once in a great while, but it pops up, and I have no idea where it's coming from. But it could be from the phone board. But the phone board is up, by the way. If you want to call in and be a part of the show, you got something paranormal to share, something you want to talk about, and that's paranormally related, you can do so by calling 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. I'll do my best to keep an eye on it, but we're going to head over to an article on a site called justforspooks.com. And I'm reading this one blind, too, and I read most of the stuff on the show blind. It's not like I proof a whole lot of stuff. Sometimes that's worked to my disadvantage, but usually it's a lot of fun to read things and learn them together and discuss them together. But this is an article, it's called 10 Times an Inner Warning Saved Someone. I've had experiences of this myself several times. Can sometimes just be a bad feeling, like, I don't feel like I want to go to this one event. I don't feel good. Like, and I've had premonitions. Mm-hmm. One time I worked patrol when I worked in a security classification when I worked in the Department of Corrections. And I had this vision. I was driving on patrol, patrolling the grounds, and I had this vision of a white truck just flying out from between these two buildings. And I was going to crash into them. And I was like, whoa. And so I slowed down. And I got up to where that vision was in my head. And sure enough, boom, out comes this white truck that just flew out. They were doing some installs and were in a big hurry. They would have rammed me. They would have flattened me.
Wow.
So it's just one of those things. It's, it's an inner knowing or a premonition of sorts. And so I think many of us have had those things, just bad feelings, maybe a vision, maybe something else, maybe your body reacting in a weird way. But I think this is real common. I think we all have this ability. I don't think it's unique to any one person or any kind of person. It's just sometimes a bigger part steps in and goes, nope. That's not what we want. So it says we all have that voice inside us that warns us when something feels wrong. It may make you feel like you're being watched or the person isn't what they appear to be. When we listen to these warnings, they become stronger in the future. This is especially the case when we find validation in what the voice was warning us about. The following 20 stories are from people who listened to that inner warnings and watched as it saved them or the people they loved. And I can't guarantee you any of these or all of them are paranormal, but anytime you get an inner warning, just a warning, a premonition of sorts, it's paranormal because it's not normal as what we understand as normal. And by that, I mean it's not substantiated by biological or scientific fact.
Right.
So it's paranormal. But number one, once I had to get up really early in the morning to go on a trip for my job, and it was about 3:30 in the morning, and I'd forgotten to go and get gas for my car the night before. I stopped at a gas station about a mile away from my house because that's well lit, and it was in a nicer area. Anyway, I'm pumping gas when I get the weirdest feeling that I needed to move. I moved behind my car and then away from it, and then I noticed this huge guy hiding in front of my car. He was sneaking towards me when I got the urge to get away from my car. I was completely alone, and I'm just a small girl. I almost always have mace or something with me if I'm by myself. This time I had a knife, and I pulled it out and started screaming bloody murder for him to get the hell away from me. Then he started moving closer around my car to me. I screamed even louder, and an attendant came out who called the cops. Definitely one of the scariest moments in my life. Well, thank God. Wow. Oof. Good for her. That's a great story. I wish everybody had those strong urges. And maybe the times when people get hurt is when they don't listen. I don't know. Right. Number two, when I was a teenager, I pulled up to a gas station. I saw a 15 or 16-year-old blonde girl get into a gold-colored Oldsmobile with two middle-aged Hispanic men. She got in willingly, but the scene made me really uncomfortable, so I memorized the license plate. Later that day, I went back into the same place and saw a brand new missing persons poster with her picture. I called the police with the info I had. The car was pulled over 2 states away, and she was reunited with her parents less than 24 hours after the ordeal began. I still remember that license plate after over 20 years. Good for you, brother. Wow, fantastic. Oof. Number 3. Woke up in the middle of the night and was oddly 100% alert. No grogginess at all. I sensed something was off and instantly smelled gas. My bedroom in this house had 2 doors, with one of them leading to the kitchen, so I hop out of bed and fling that door open, and that's when the gas smell became almost unbearable, but I ran to the gas oven, flung it open to see a black disc closely resembling what was once a frozen pizza.
Oh my.
I turned off the oven and peered into the living room, and that's when I saw my drunkenly passed out and naked roommate.
Oh, wow.
After opening all the windows in the kitchen door, I tried to wake his snoring behind up, but to no success.
I'd have been kicking him.
Yeah. The living room didn't smell at all, so I figured he'd be safe for the night and just went back to bed. I still find odd comfort with how quick I reacted to what could have been a very bad situation.
Wow.
Yeah. Ma was right. Number 4. Yeah, I know. My former roommate. I was almost kidnapped. When I was 13, my mom and I were in a tourist shop in a small town we lived in. I noticed this woman eyeing me, but I didn't think anything about it. My mom called me over to look at something, saying, "Miranda, come look at this dress." I noticed the woman leave the shop. I looked at the dress and went back to looking around, and I lost track of my mom. Then the woman came back through the door and asked me if my name was Miranda. I said yes, and she told me to come with her because my mom was in the next shop and sent me to get her, or sent her to get me. I didn't believe her because my mom was the kind of mom who would have told me if she was going to the next shop. I just told the woman I would go find her when I was done in this shop, and that my mom wouldn't send a stranger to come get me. The woman looked really surprised and said something like, "Well, okay then," and left. I was pretty shaken, and a few minutes later, my mom came out of the back of the shop, and I asked her if she had asked this woman to get me. Even though I knew almost for sure she didn't, my mom, of course, said no, and I waited a really long time before I told my mom what had happened. Yeah, there's all kinds of twisted people. Ugh. Number 5. I was a bank teller when I was in my early 20s in New York City, and I assume other big cities. The tellers are behind glass walls and completely separated from the lobby. It was a normal day, and as I glanced over at the queue, one guy caught my eye. He wasn't a regular customer. He was dressed normally, but there was something about him that got my attention. I remember thinking he was probably a bank robber, so I took a mental note of his clothing and I tried to stall the customer at my window because I didn't want to help the robber. Naturally, my customer walked away and the robber came to me. He passed me a note in a paper bag and said, "Give me all the 50s and 100s, no tricks, or I will shoot," but didn't show a gun. Now, the way it worked in my bank was that the glass plastic really started about mid-chest height, maybe 4 feet off the ground, so that if someone really had a gun, they would have to raise it up over the counter for the teller and everyone else to see it, and couldn't intimidate us with the finger gun in the pocket move. The rule was that if we had a visible gun, then to just hand them the cash, nobody gets hurt. The cash in that situation would also include a packet of exploding red dye that would detonate once it passed through the door to the outside. Don't rob banks, guys. You won't get away with it. If there was no visible gun, we were supposed to say a code word and then duck down under the counter and press the silent alarm. The dummy I sat next to started laughing and asking why in the world was I on the floor, and all I could do was say the code word and smash the alarm. The robber got spooked and ran out empty-handed. I don't know what exactly it was about the guy that told me he was a robber. He was obviously giving off subtle clues, possibly body language, but I saw him for just a couple of seconds and I knew what he was up to. Now, that's definitely an empathy of sorts, for sure. That's good reaction. Number 6, when we were 15 years old, me and a friend went to shoot hoops near this massive church that had a park. We were happily playing around on the courts. I remember shooting the ball, missing the sound of it bouncing away. My friend and I looked at each other and we both felt it. This sudden sinking, nervous feeling. It was very quiet. No one was around. This car comes cruising into the car park next to the court and just sits there. We can see 2 men in the car. We try to ignore them and keep playing. After about 5 minutes, the passenger side door opens, and this guy stands up and calls out, "Come here for a second." My friend looks at me, and I look at him. We know this isn't good, and something was wrong. He picks up the ball and starts walking away. The guy in the car yells, "Hey, come here. I got something you might like." Well, we walk faster, heading past the church. He gets back in the car, and it continues to cruise towards us, but this time faster. Just as we drop the ball and run, the side door of the church swings open, and about 20 to 25 middle-aged blokes come walking out, all laughing and chatting away. The car slams on the brakes. One of these guys looks at us and looks at the car and says, "You boys okay?" The car calmly turns around and cruises away. The men who came out of the church were a men's choir who had been practicing for some competition. At first, I thought the guys in the car were just going to bash us or rob us, but when I was older and telling a friend, he said, "Pretty sure you avoided being kidnapped, mate." Sent a chill down my spine. Almost kidnapped church choir to the rescue. Wow. Number 7. I was driving to school one day in the morning, still dark, going about 55 miles per hour. We used to live out in the country about 5 miles or so from town. What? Is that not far enough?
No.
Oh, okay. And about 2 miles away from my home, and I thought something was weird and noticed that my brights on the car weren't on, and I couldn't see the road very well. My dim lights suck. I flipped to my brights and immediately slammed on the brakes due to the herd of deer crossing the road 20 feet from me.
Oh, yeah.
I would have never noticed them and wrecked my car, potentially had a deer or two through the windshield, if I hadn't switched my lights. Still creeps me out to this day. Yeah, I mean...
Out with elk.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Or a moose, right?
Yeah, well, when I was living out in Clark Fork, it's 45 miles away.
Uh-huh.
5 o'clock in the morning, you're coming through. We literally had to stop morning after morning because there is literally a herd of elk going across the street.
Wow.
And we were in a PT Cruiser, so it wasn't very, it wasn't like a 3500. I just drive through it, right? These things come right through the window and kill you.
Yeah. Well, especially an elk. They're such a big animal.
Yeah.
That weight alone. I've seen what a white-tailed deer can do to a car at about 50. And it'll fold up that metal like nothing. And that's a white-tailed deer.
Just to let you know, Paisley just canceled her live show tonight.
Oh, okay.
She's not feeling good.
Okay. Well, I understand. I hope she's better. Our thoughts go out to you, Paisley. Get well soon. But yeah, I don't know, man. These premonitions are awesome.
Okay, so Nessie Monster says, okay, who's messaging Dawn? It was Paisley.
Number 8. It was my birthday. I was turning 13 or 14. If I remember correctly, my parents were divorced and had been for several years when this happened. So my mom got me for an hour on my birthday night. And a few months ago, I decided I wanted to live with my dad and hadn't seen her in a while because I was scared of her. Well, anyways, I got into her car. My mom looked happy to see me, but she seemed a little off. We got to the end of the street when she started flipping out and screaming while vigorously banging her head on the steering wheel while continuing to drive. Yikes. I was really scared and feared for my own safety. I feared for her a ton too, but I couldn't save her from herself, so I tried to get out of the car, but she grabbed my hood and my jacket and yanked me back into the car. She yelled at me to put my seatbelt on and started to driving really fast so I couldn't get out. I've never been so terrified in my life. We drove around town at high speeds while she accused me of moving to my dad's house for the money and offered to take me to expensive restaurants so she could buy me back. I refused every offer. We spent the entire hour with her driving crazily around the area. I was so scared that I had a 911 type it out on my cell phone in my jacket pocket just in case. When I got home, my mom drove off without saying a word. My stepmom and father asked me how I went. I burst into tears, hands down the worst birthday ever. Overall, I should have trusted my gut feeling and not gotten into the car.
Wow.
Poor kid.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. It's like when I understand adults have issues and stuff, but no matter what your issues are, don't make your kids pay for it. Just don't. It's so unfair. Number 9. A couple of friends and I met a cute guy at an anime convention in Chicago we attend every year. Nothing too crazy became of the friendship, but my friend and he flirted a bit and hung out one-on-one a couple of times. I'm not sure how seriously she considered pursuing him, but one year when we saw him, he was acting funny, pretending he didn't know us. Straight up lied and said he didn't know our names. But he also kind of smirked when he said it, and I knew he was messing with us. I can't describe it, but I got this really bad feeling about him because he was acting just like a guy I knew in high school who was a bit of a sociopath who would lie and mess with people just to see their reaction. He, the guy from my school, also tried to kill his guinea pigs when he didn't feel like putting them up for adoption. He was just a scumbag, but he was a scumbag with very particular way of talking and acting. And this convention dude was just like him in some of those ways. So as it turns out, my feelings of distrust and caution were totally right. A few months later, the dude was arrested for kidnapping his girlfriend and for torturing her in his apartment for 2 months. While he was caught and charged with attempted murder. Dodged a bullet there. Huh. Wow. Yeah, that's so twisted. People online. Oof. Number 10, Don.
No, 10 of 10.
10 of 10. My mom woke up screaming on the morning of 9/11. My dad was up, as usual, getting ready for work. He worked on Wall Street. My mom told him he needed to call in sick because she had a really bad feeling that something was going to happen if he went in. I think we all thought that just meant he was going to get fired or something. And my dad and I are both ultra rational and tend to scoff at stuff like this. So my dad kept getting ready and eating breakfast, as usual, to catch his usual train out. My brother managed to oversleep, meaning someone had to drive him. My mom leaped at the opportunity to make my dad drive him to school, meaning he'd have to catch the next train out. He watched the towers fall from Hoboken, right across the water. If he had taken that earlier train like he wanted to, he would have been in the building as it came crashing down. I asked my brother about it years later when he remembered oversleeping that morning, and he told me that he had almost forgotten how pissed he was that morning at my mom. While my dad and I are eating breakfast, she had gone to my brother's room and told him to sleep in. Didn't stop her from screaming her head off at him when she finally did wake him up. My mom continues to declare that my brother must have dreamed that she told him that or made it up, but I believe my brother.
Huh.
Wow. Yeah, if you're ever going to flip out, that's a good reason to do it. You know, if you think you're saving someone's life, then that's a pretty good reason to do it, I guess. Wow, those are some great stories.
They were, yeah.
How many of you out there have had those situations where you had something coming and you knew it? You just knew it, and you listened, and you avoided something terrible. I'd love to hear that, so if you get a chance, leave me a message in the comments, or if those of you in the chat, feel free to submit it. I'd love to see it. That kind of stuff to me is really powerful because it defies everything we understand about time and about life. And, you know, I mean, how can people know?
Mm-hmm.
How could the mom wake up knowing something was going to happen? That is not normal.
Something on that scale.
Right. I mean, and that's, you know, what a huge psychic event anyway, but what an incredible tragedy. And all of these could have been tragedies to some degree. Some of them absolutely horrendous, whether just on a personal level or a community level or more. You know, to ignore those warnings is just, you know, I like I said, I've experienced this myself, and I don't pretend to understand it. I really don't. I don't know how it works. How do we know? So either A, we are multidimensional reality people. We just don't know it, and sometimes things punch through that time dimension to us. Right. Or B, maybe it's all scripted, and we're just not supposed to be a part of that act.
You mean like a Matrix kind of thing?
Like a Matrix. Or, is there a C? Can you think of a C? So I got A and B. Did you got a C? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of what other possibilities there could be.
Mandela effect.
Mandela effect. Well, could be. Maybe you're from a different dimension.
Well, you know, well, that's like I was just talking to somebody at work the other day, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, he was talking about, he mentioned something, and I said, well, that's a Mandela effect. He goes, you know, I remember him dying in prison. I'm like, no. No.
So he does.
He remembers him dying in prison. I'm like, obviously not. I mean, he was president of South Africa for years, you know, and,
right.
You know, that kind of thing. And it's like, well, you know, it's just one of those things. I said, yeah, you're not from my timeline.
Yeah,
maybe you should go back.
Oh, is it one of those coworkers?
No, he's actually a really cool guy.
Good.
He's got some great stories.
Yeah, I mean, that's really true, though. Maybe it is. I know that, you know, for the Mandela effects are another example of possible different timelines moving together or different realities moving together. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I remember Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. I never, ever heard Magic Mirror. I remember the lion laying down with the lamb, not the wolf laying down with the lamb. I remember so many of those. The Berenstain Bears, not the Berenstain Bears. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of those resonate with me. It's like, no, that wasn't how it was. But, you know, and then they say, well, is it just a memory glitch? Well, if it's a shared memory glitch, there's something not right with that explanation.
Right.
If a person has a memory glitch, that can happen. But if whole sections of the population have memory glitches, that doesn't wash anymore.
Right.
That's a shared psychosis of some kind then. And that doesn't make sense. But we are at the end of our journey here through the Paranormal Portal, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you've enjoyed the ride. Please return your trays to the upright and locked position as we make our way into the portal, or out of the portal, as it were. But it's been a great pleasure for me. Don, did you have fun?
Yes, I always have fun. And wow, it screamed by.
It did, didn't it?
It did. It screamed right on by.
Right on by. Don from the shadows talking to you right live right now. Just like a hat and a beard talking, really. You almost blend right out.
Right out.
All we can see is a hat and a beard and some headphones.
Effect. He used to blend in. Now he blends out.
You're blended in then, whatever. In or out, it's hard to see you. But I'm glad you had a good time. And thank you all of you for being here with us, all 84 of you. Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to do these shows for you. Please get subscribed if you're not already. We'd love for you to become a part of the family on YouTube. If you're a part of the viewing audience and you're new, get subscribed. We do live shows Wednesday through Sunday nights. And check out our podcast on Pandora, Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, and more and more and more. But
there you go.
Anything in closing, Don?
Nope. Just have a great weekend. And don't forget your clocks if you live in that time.
Push your clocks ahead if you got a time shift. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And remember, I love you.
That wasn't creepy.
It's not creepy.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 6